I don't know if I'm going to put switch motors. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning, everybody.
We've already been discussing lots of railroad things just before we went live.
Yes, we have.
Bench work and tortoise engines and all kinds of things.
Yeah. A little different than what we normally talk about pre-show, which we won't talk about.
I think this was not Steve Arnold influenced.
Yeah, well, it's 10 a.m. Eastern time. Do you know where your Steve is? He's on the way to a training session with some other bus drivers, so he's not going to be here today. And Bill is still gallivanting around the globe, so hopefully we'll have him back in a couple weeks. But anyway, Jerry, why don't you tell us who's here?
I surely will. We got Otter Creek, Dennis, Bernard C., Grandpa Rails, of course, Claude, Steve Arnold somewhere, John Dawson, Gerald Stewart, Rob T-Man, just scrolling down, Heath, Humanity Junction, I saw him, Daniel Banks, DES Media Productions, Dave H&H High over there in Denmark, Dave Todd,
Netherlands. We have this discussion every week, don't we? Where's he at? Denmark?
Yeah, Denmark, Netherlands, somewhere like that.
That's all.
Almar, Mark over there to CB&Q. Just like I have to go through the chat. Indian Head Valley, Wilmer, Randy Doman, is it Doman? Yeah, Doman, Jack, Steve Childers from Oklahoma, Dwight Curley, and Ray Burlstein. I think I am caught up.
Catch everybody up? Yeah, so Dennis, I find out, is it Childers or Childers?
I don't know.
Childers.
Everyone I've ever met with that spelling pronounced it Childers, but a lot of people think my name's pronounced Carell, depending on where you live. So.
Yeah, names do not go by how it's spelled.
Yeah.
But we'll find out he's between us. He's in Oklahoma City.
Yep.
And went up to Stillwater, had a train show last weekend. I didn't hear anything about it. I don't know. Where did you hear about that train show, Steve? Because I didn't.
Was it a train show?
Yeah, it was a train show in Stillwater.
Where?
Probably at the fairground, my guess.
Where at?
At the fairground.
In Oklahoma City?
No. Stillwater.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm assuming it was at the fairgrounds. That's usually where they have that kind of stuff. But anyway, yeah, I didn't know anything about it.
Me either. Must not have been well advertised because I probably would have gone to it.
Well, it's Oklahoma. They barely advertised the Oklahoma City train show, and it's a pretty good show.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were talking about, just before we came on, we were talking about
bench work
and switch machines. A little bit about switch machines, mainly about bench work. So, hey, that's a good place to start. How do you build your bench work? What kind of bench work do you use?
Yeah, how do you
use L girder or how do you build it? I know the very first layout I built was from the big book of plans. I think something like that. It's called something like that. It had like 12 different plans on it, and the book was real wide. So when you open it up, you had a pretty good size spread there. And they used a lot of cookie cutter in there. Now they used L girder bench work under that, but I was going to tell you earlier, Dennis, that they used risers off of that also.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the cookie cutter, for the cookie cutter spot. Now I've used some cookie cutter in mine. The lower deck just before it goes into before it goes into the lowest loop, there's a cookie cutter part there, and then up in my mining district is cookie cutter. And it just makes for a nice smooth transition of levels. So if you've got that sort of thing to do where you've got a switchback or you've got a transition in levels where one track is coming in low and another one's going to start climbing, cookie cutters are not a bad way to go. I know so many people use
I haven't done any cookie cutter yet, but I might when I get over here. I haven't. That
Well, a lot
part
of
of the
people
railroad
now
is still kind of unclear to me.
I know a lot of people now use the Woodland Scenics ramps. I've not used any of those just because.
Ramps? What are they?
Yeah, the styrofoam. They're not really styrofoam. They're the foam, like packing foam almost.
Is it poly? What do they call that?
Polypropylene. I don't know. I'm not sure
Are
what
you
it's made
talking
of.
for like inclines?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've seen that.
You've probably
All
seen it.
different
You
sizes.
might not be describing them
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah, they've got them in different angles.
Yeah.
But
2% grade, 5%, 4%, 3%.
I looked at getting some of those for the lead up to my coal trestle.
They're expensive.
Yeah, I've got a foam cutter.
Yeah.
I can cut that and sand it. And
Woodland Scenics has got some really good stuff. Yeah, but they're proud of it.
I mean, it's okay if you're building a small little
exactly.
layout, but if you're building 20, 30, 40 feet of layout.
And again, it's all relative. If you're I don't know, maybe an engineer or a CNC machine shop owner or something like that, it's relative. You've got the cash flow to make things, because to me, I don't know how many people out here watch Rob Bennett on the channel's called Stephen Bennett's Railroad or whatever, but he has a saying that I think is very applicable. You can either pay with time or you can pay with money.
Right.
And if you can afford to save yourself a lot of time by buying a product, it might be worth it to you. It's just a matter of how you feel about it.
See, and I'm with Wilmer on this. He uses the Wilmer method of bench work, which
means by the book.
Hey, I guarantee you, if you came and you looked at the bench work on my layout, it's all based off of L girder, but it's not all L girder. And if you go back and look at my update where you see the picture of the Matterhorn being built before they cover it with the fiberglass, and then that episode of my updates, you can see what my helix looks like. It's nothing like anybody else built.
So what you're saying is the good thing you covered it up?
Yeah, I built all it was supposed to do is hold the tracks to get up to the top, and then hold the structure for the cover, and it does its job. But I built that on the fly. There was no plan to it. I've seen much better helixes built, much better helixes built than what I built, but it worked for what I was doing. So, and what I wanted out of it, because I wanted two places where the track came outside the mountain. So I had to kind of offset the spirals and all that stuff, and doing it like everybody else is doing it would have been a little tougher to do, I think. But
Michael McCarville had a question. And
offset the spirals and all that.
Hello, Digger. Hello, Nathan. Hello, Michael McCarville.
Did you see? Is this the one?
Yeah.
American Model Builders laser kit closed. Oh,
really? Did anybody pick them up? Michael, did you buy them out?
Who are they?
I'm not sure I know who that is. If I saw one of the models,
they've got a lot of kits. If it's who I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm sure they have. But if I saw one of the kits, then I'd know. I'd know who they were. And Mark says, "What did he say? How'd you get the fly to hold still?" Oh, now I know why Dave doesn't like you very much.
Yeah, it says page not found anymore.
Wow. Well, that's the same way I found out about Campbell's scale models. I went to their page to buy some extra stuff, and it was no more, which was kind of weird. But
surely somebody has picked up their stuff, because they had a ton of kits.
Do they just do narrow gauge?
Well, I mean, structures are structures. They don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
error-wise.
I think they've got both. I don't know I can't remember if they had S scale or not, but definitely had N scale and HO both, as I recall. It's been a while since I bought anything from them, but I've got at least one of their kits on my railroad.
About the only difference in narrow gauge versus HO versus standard gauge would be the height of platforms. Because I built this freight house, came out really nice, but it's got a platform all the way around it. And I went to set it, down next to the narrow gauge, and not even thinking that, the height difference, and it's way too high.
So here's a question. Here's a question. Recently, like a lot of these kit builders have been closing. Why are they closing?
Economics, probably.
Yeah, that's a can of worms we could open up.
Everything.
You got guys like Michael McCarville who are just getting into this, and they seem to. Well,
my guess is it's the scale of here. I'm just going to guess. Michael has grown at a rate that he can keep up with, right?
Right.
American model builders may be at a scale that they've got a lot more overhead and maybe employees and things like that, and the purchase demand for what they've got has made it difficult for them to keep the doors open. That's just a guess.
It also can be overhead. How much overhead do you have?
Yeah,
that's even worse.
Yeah. So if you don't have a lot of overhead, then you can much easier stay in business. Say if you're working out of your home and you have another job, another full-time job, that's a whole different matter than if you're full-time and you're renting space and have employees and all that, because you got to make enough money to keep all that stuff. It's simple economics. And I know why some of them do that, and some of them, the owners pass away or they retire.
Right. Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah. Well, it's like the guy that does the magic water, did the magic water, he passed away. So, bye-bye magic water, unless somebody else picked it up, which I haven't heard anything on that. But
yeah, Bill.
There's Bill.
Hi, Bill. Hi, Bill. Have a good day.
Bill, hope you're
good
safe.
Trip. Said he's going to Milan, Italy. He's in Hong Kong, going to Italy.
Yeah. Mike says the family. Oh, let me get it up here. Come on.
Well, surely they'll sell it, put it up for sale.
Family did not want to continue the business, so they closed. Huh. I'm surprised.
I'm sure it will be for sale for somebody.
Well, they may have tried to sell it and couldn't. I mean, that, we don't know.
I guess that's just a lot. I would have to think that would be a fair amount of equipment and stuff to sell. Just to.
Bill says, send a picture to the back on track email of tourist spot in Thailand. That's pretty cool. Okay, I'll have to look that up. You guys keep discussing. I'm going to go look that up.
Yeah, I would imagine even like nowadays, so many people have laser printers, and there's a lot of people doing their own stuff now.
I would love to have one, but
laser cutters
of the things that I could purchase that I might make a lot of use of, I could definitely see a laser cutter for all of the scratch builds that I'm going to do.
Right.
To be a very useful tool for me. The problem is I'm very reluctant to learn any program associated with the designing of what I'm going to cut. Because I don't enjoy sitting in front of a computer figuring things out.
Yeah,
And maybe it's more intuitive than I could guess, but that's my reluctance, is the time spent doing that when I could actually be working with my hands doing it right now. But I could also see in the long run, I might save myself a lot of time. If you put, I don't know, 100 hours into learning the program, that might save you 500 down the road. That's just a guess.
Well, I found the picture, but I'm trying to get it over where we can see it. No, that's not good.
Mike took over 3 kits from Crystal River because they didn't want to produce HO scale kits anymore. That's pretty cool. I haven't even heard of Crystal River, I don't think.
No, I hadn't either. Well, sorry, Bill, I can't get it over here. I'll have to figure out a different way of doing that.
Yeah,
Chris says the ROI on buying hobby-related businesses is insane. He looked at buying at a couple of different businesses that was retiring out, and the asking price just made it not worth his while.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have a business that's been established for many, many years, has bought equipment over many, many years, paid that equipment off. They still got to get something back from that equipment.
Right.
So it's a big investment to lay down whatever, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. You got to sell a lot of kits before you can start getting money back,
This is the picture Bill sent from Thailand.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Is that the road bed up there next to those pillars?
I think so.
Looks like a bunch of styrofoam stacked up and weathered.
Yeah. Did you do that? Did you do that, Bill?
Yeah, you can see the serrations where they use the razor knife to comb down the sides of those things.
Yeah.
I think this is what's to come from Bill.
Could be.
This is his next layout.
Yeah.
He's picking up ideas on how to do it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Bernard says, wow, trains in Egypt? No, Thailand. He's in Thailand.
Mike says his business is worth about $1.
About $1, yeah.
Take care. See ya. Hi. Have a good night. Michael says his business is worth about $1. And you'd be easy buy out there, Michael.
Nathan's asking, do you think Woodland Scenics has better water features than the one you're used to, or is it not much quality compared to what you're used for water effects? I can't answer that because the only Woodland Scenics product I used was I don't know if it's called the Water Effects, where you can make the waterfalls and stuff. But when you use that, because you put it out on like wax paper to make your waterfall, and then you peel it off there and you stick it on your layout. I think you could do the same thing probably with white glue or clear silicone and do exactly the same thing.
One of the things that I find confusing,
Woodland Scenics in that regard is not really necessary. It might make it easier, but Woodland Scenic stuff's not cheap. Now the Magic Water, I like it. That's the first thing I used. It's the only thing I've used for water, for pooled water, and I like it. I wouldn't use anything else, but I haven't used anything else, so it's hard for me to answer that question.
One of the things I find confusing about Woodland Scenics is the amount of products that they have to do one thing. Water, they have a bunch of different products. Plaster, they have a bunch of different products. So it's like you go to the store, you go first time person, that's getting into modeling, and you see all this woodland scenic stuff to do different scenery things, and it's like, do I need all this stuff to do what I need to do?
Yeah.
No. The question is no, but you still feel like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. And then you start looking at the price of it, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of money that I got to plunk into doing wood or doing whatever, you know. It's
Yeah, I remember when I was in high school and looking at some of that stuff, and of course, I don't even know if Woodland Scenics was that big at that time. It probably was. And I didn't really get to scenery stuff on my layout, so I didn't really get deep into it. But I did look at some of the stuff, and it was like, well, that's a lot of money. Like their foam cutter. Their foam cutter's crazy price for
right.
what it is. You can make one that's cheaper than a whole lot cheaper than that. You can make a static grass applicator that's cheaper than that, a lot cheaper than what theirs is.
Yeah.
I've never understood why the static grass applicators are so expensive, because there's not that much to them. And
I
yet
guess because
they're
they
all
can get
$80,
it.
$100, you know?
It's because they're magic.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. You know, I guess they think it's a one-time purchase. Once you buy one, you won't ever have to buy another one. So it's more expensive in that regard, so that they make their profit off of what they're making. You know, like I say, it's all economics, and it all depends on where stuff's coming from and how it's made and what it costs to get made and all that stuff. You know, it's just like somebody's got a laser machine. You know, those aren't cheap, but then they've got to make enough out of what they're making, what they're selling out of that, to pay for that, and then you got to pay for the power that it takes to run them. You know, there's all this and any kind of maintenance on it. So there's a lot more that goes into it than what we think.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that foam cutter that you made, Dennis, that's pretty awesome.
That what?
Didn't you make a foam cutter?
No, I purchased one. I've got a
He bought one.
Axion, I think it is.
He's lazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you made one.
Mm-mm.
Is there something that you made? A machine?
Well, the closest thing you could say I've ever made to a machine is my my nail. I got a nail driver. It's a
No,
pipe
I don't know why I
hammer.
thought
The
you
only
made
thing
one.
I've ever made.
Okay, maybe I'm confusing you with somebody else.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else I've made.
So you bought a foam cutter?
Hmm.
See, now Mike says he paid his off in 2 months. It wasn't cheap, but he has cut a lot of kits.
Right,
And,
but
you know,
Mike's
down the
also
road,
selling his kits. I wouldn't be. I have no desire to create a business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would just
Yeah.
be whether or not I would save money on purchasing kits, which I don't plan on purchasing a lot more kits. Of course, I can't look into the future because I don't know what's going to be over here. But
You're making your
I
layout even
like
bigger?
scratching. Do what?
Your layout is going to go even bigger?
I'm going to fill
Really?
up the whole room. And
Really?
truth be known, there's still a chance I might go through the wall into the shop. I haven't made it far enough yet to make that final decision.
Wow, man. This is earth-shaking news.
Well, it shouldn't be. I mean,
I thought that was it right there.
no. No,
Nathan,
I've got 26 by 28, 29 feet in here, and I've just now made it to right here. So I've got the whole exterior of the room to cover, and then figure out how much HO I want to put. And if I come up with either another staging yard at the other end or just do a reverse loop that's kind of modeled. I really haven't decided that yet.
Nathan's asking if clear glue is a good way to make the water effects. It depends on what water effects you're using, but I would think it would. But clear glue, now, when you say clear glue, I'm assuming you mean clear glue like white glue, but it's clear. You can definitely use that, but try it out. It's not expensive. That kind of stuff's not expensive. When you start getting into the specialty stuff from like Woodland Scenics, then it starts getting expensive.
My suggestion with any kind of water effect, go watch Boomer Dioramas,
Mm-hmm.
and go through the search bar on his YouTube channel and just put in there water and look at the products he uses and the results he gets, and you might be surprised what you can do with just, I forget what it is. I mean, he uses that
medium.
Golden's. Golden's makes all kinds of different acrylic mediums of different viscosities, and then when it dries, it's perfectly clear and looks like water. You can get it in matte, you can get it in gloss. If you get it in gloss, it's going to look like water. It's a matter of how thick you need your water to be. So if you're looking at being able to look through your water and see, fish, standing up inside your water, you're probably looking at pouring some kind of epoxy resin. If you're just wanting to model something that has the sheen of water, very thin water, like a waterfall, then I plan on getting some of that golden stuff and seeing what I can do with it, with all of the water I have remaining, which I've only done one water feature, and that's, a very small section, and I can't remember what I used, but it's going to collect dust, and when you clean it, there's a chance that you're going to scratch the top of it, and it's going to lose that sheen that makes it look like water.
Well, that's the nice thing about the magic water. It's tough enough that you don't get that. Yeah. I've dropped nails and stuff like that on top of the finished lake that I have. Doesn't mark it up at all. Now, I guess you could, if you drop, say, an ice pick straight down, it could stick in it and leave a mark. But it's very tough. Doesn't leave fingerprints. Where I know a lot of epoxy resins, you have to kind of be careful because they can leave fingerprints and stuff. So, for a deep pour, you got to go by layers and let them cure each time.
Man, this magic water sounds like figure it out. It
was really easy to use, and I love the finished product.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a lot of the epoxy problems that you can have. It doesn't eat foam, none of that kind of stuff. So, like for me, it was just really good. The bad thing is, I don't know where you can get it now. Now, I think it was Chuck said he found some on eBay.
Yeah, I remember.
But that's going to be far and few between probably because I don't think it's being made anymore. Michael said he'll cut your crap for you, Dennis.
Well, but I would still have to know exactly what it is I wanted. That's the whole thing. Is the process for me is an ABC process. I would have to figure out like everything and then send it, and that's part of the process that I love in scratch building is the process. Even if it's with a block of wood, here's what I've got now. I can feel it, touch it, manipulate it. What's next?
Well, what you do is you build the mock-up like you did on your stamp mill, but you don't glue it together. You just tape it together, and then you take it apart and you send all the pieces to them and just have them cut to pieces. Yeah.
So I plan on it. It's going to be all sticks. I'm pretty sure everything in that will be. I'm going to try and build it within reason of how they actually would have built the building. I think my plan moving forward is I'm going to get all of the innards. Like I've got the 10 stamps that are coming from Wild West models. I've got a rock crusher that's coming. I haven't decided if I'll have to see how much room I have. I might also put Wild West Models has got an ore, I forget what it's called. It's an automated ore machine that would feed the stamp mill. If I've got room for that, I might put a couple of those in there. But once I get all of the components that are going to belong on the inside, I can figure out where they're going to go on the inside and then figure out the framing around it. That's kind of my thought. I've got the finished dimensions, but I want to make sure that what is going to go on the inside fits. And then I plan on building the framework for it all out of, it looks to me like most of those stamp mills, the wood that they used inside was probably 24 by 24. Big stuff.
Yeah, and I've got a bunch of 1/8-inch hardwood or basswood that you can have. I think I tried to give it to you before and you didn't take it.
What's a stamp mill?
So it's a process of reducing the ore out of the building, out of the mine to a smaller size, and then extracting the ore out of what it is that you're trying to get. Basically, it's a big old crusher. You're taking stuff that's this big. You know, the guy up in the Grizzly is beating it down. Goodbye. Have a great day. Beating it down with a sledgehammer into the ore bin, and then the ore bin goes into maybe a jaw crusher, and then the jaw crusher goes into another ore bin, and now you're dealing with gravel type stuff that goes into the stamp mill, which crushes it like this. If you're curious, look up I think it's the Blackjack Mine, Colorado Mining Historical Mine. I'm sure Michael can tell us what it is, but they actually show one working. You can go. They do tours. I'm not sure how often they work the stamp mill, but there's a video out there that you can actually see how it all works. Pretty cool stuff.
Dennis, that one you showed on your video, was that a model?
That was a model. That was, I don't know what.
I think I saw that somewhere too. Somebody scratch built that?
Well, no, I think that one is a working model at I can't remember where I lifted that. I got it off of YouTube, but it was just like a 1/3 model of what it actually would be. The real ones, those stamps weighed 600 to 1,000 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Each.
Yeah, but I'd seen that video somewhere before,
yeah.
And I was thinking the guy scratch built that thing for his outdoor layout, a garden railroad.
I think this one is the one that I got. I'm pretty sure is at a museum.
Oh, okay. Because the one I saw was a guy. I think he's in St. George, Utah, and Toy Man had gone down there, and he had that stamp mill he built and had it out in the yard on his layout. And it was a working, well, I'll say working, it moved.
Right. That's another thing that will be difficult to figure out. The Wild West models, they'll work. If you can figure out the banding and all of the gearing inside and put a motor in it, they'll actually work. I just don't know.
Are you going to model all that, the belt drive?
I don't know, because that's going to be an effort. I'd like to, but looking at the Wild West model site, there might be another site that has similar stuff. I don't see any pulleys. I think I would have to scratch build those out of plastic and figure out, how all that works. And, You know, I just don't know yet.
Is it? It's one of the. I say kit makers. They're Durango Press, I think.
Do they have some
They
stuff
have a set
there?
of gears and stuff. Now I got mine for junk, you know, be laying around and stuff.
Right.
But you might could use something like that in there. Now it may be way too big too, but
yeah. Well, I know without a doubt I can scratch build them out of plastic. I don't think that would be very difficult. I'm just not sure what I would use for, I guess, paper, you know, maybe thick paper would work for the actual banding or for the belts. You know, what would you use for a belt that would actually drive the thing? I don't know yet.
Well, yeah.
Especially an A cup. If it was an S scale or O scale, I think it'd be a little easier to pull off.
Yeah, that'd be a tedious modeling job. My worst one is going to be my tram cables and stuff.
Yeah, and that's another thing I haven't decided yet. I won't know for sure if I want to, you know, right now it's got a tram house. But once I figure out where in the mountain it's going to go and I actually make the decision to build it, I may create that whole thing up there where the Grizzly is right now. I might take that to where it actually receives an ore car. I'm not sure yet because I don't know the relationship of the track to the building yet. I've got to wait, you know, again, like I said in the video, I was more focused on getting something that was, what is the width? What is the depth? How is it going to fit with everything else? And the next thing is how high in the air is it going to be? Because it's going to have to be in the air, you know, because I think I'm at least 10 inches higher on the track that's going to go around to Aspen than I am at Maroon Creek. So if I want to interface the top of the mill with that track, it's going to probably have to go up in the air some. I just don't know yet.
Yeah.
Sounds
because I think I sent you some pictures of the mill that was up at Eureka. They had a picture in our room when we went up there, and it definitely had trains coming at the very top of it. Well, those would have had to switch back up that hill or something because it was up. Right. You know, that was a really big mill, and it's up there a ways. So it was up a lot higher than the road we were on. Okay, Dave, take care. Dave had to leave. Okay. Let me catch up with chat here.
Model a chapel car. It's basically a church as a passenger car that can go anywhere. Would that be appropriate for your timeline? Probably 1800. Well, see, I think everyone thinks that I'm modeling 1890. Maybe that's my own fault, but I'm actually modeling probably 1930s. And I wouldn't be surprised if I thought I could get away with it, of pushing that up into as late as 1945.
Here's Bernard with some wisdom.
Well, I'm not Luke Townsend though, and I don't have all of his fancy toys either.
I watch some of the stuff I can't hold my hands that steady for some of the stuff that he does. I know the older I get, the more I shake.
Yeah.
So, it's getting fun to do that. What time is it? Oh, we got 20 minutes.
Plenty of time. You guys are like really into those intricate parts of your layout, right?
In places, yeah.
Yeah. Well, to me, the details, all the stuff that's not the railroad is what really brings the whole thing to life and makes it look real. I showed a picture to my wife. I think I saw it on Facebook, and I don't remember what page it was, but it was a slow scan of somebody's layout that, God, they've probably been building on a thing for 50 years. It had real tall buildings in the background and industrial stuff in front, but it looked like you were scanning a real city. and you could
Right.
barely see the railroad.
Yeah.
It was everything else.
Was it
Yeah.
the Franklin in South Manchester?
Could have been something like that. Yeah, it was incredible. And I saw it and I thought, oh, that looks so real, because I know that's the kind of stuff she likes to see. She didn't care about the trains. She likes to see the miniature modeling stuff. And so I showed it to her and she was duly impressed. But yeah, it was one of those that, it's way out of my league.
So now is she expecting that from you?
No, she knows better. We've been married 45 years. She knows better. If I'm working with two befores and one befores and stuff like that, then she knows, or plumbing or something like that, she knows it'll get done and it'll be good, but not this kind of stuff, no. She's impressed when I do a kit and I bring it down and I show it to her and say, how does this look? And she goes, oh, that looks really good. Blah, 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 Same stuff I always tell you.
Yeah, that's what my wife does too. She pretends to be impressed.
Yeah.
So Dennis, as a kid, did you have a Rector set?
A what?
An erector set?
I think I had Tinker Toys. I think I wanted the erector set, but I never got it. I think I only had Tinker Toys, and I don't even think I had Lincoln Logs. But
Tinker Toys was the first.
I love the Tinker Toys.
Yeah. What did you do with the Tinker Toys when the dowels got too small to stay in the thing? Do you wrap paper around them and keep using them?
I don't really remember doing much with him. I was more of a truck guy than anything else. Tonka toys and things like that.
Yeah. Well, I did have them.
I do love build. I've built things my entire life. I got an ass whipping so hard one time because we had a garden, and one of my favorite things to do was to go create rivers, roads, overpasses, tunnels, and I think I created a city in the garden after some stuff had been planted. I can't really remember, but that I just love doing that kind of thing. And I've been building models. I can't say my entire life, because there was a period of time there where I really didn't do anything, but I've always done something like that one way or another.
That reminds me, I was a big John Wayne World War II movie fan, right? So I asked Mom one day if I could make a foxhole in the backyard. She said, sure. She was trying to get me to go outside. So I had a hole in the corner of the yard that was probably 15 feet across and about 3 foot deep. And I took all the dirt from the hole and piled it up in front, so it looked deeper than it was. I'll never forget the look on my mother's face when she came out there and saw what I'd done, because I was out there all day, digging with my dad's old
army shovel.
Army shovel that he had, fold up army shovel. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Used to have a lot of fun.
E-tool, entrenching tool.
Entrenching tool, yeah. Let's see, I missed something here. Oh, Mike says his wife asked how much she can sell it for after he passes away. Yeah. My wife doesn't ask that. She wants me to get rid of it before then. Or have
at least twice as much as what you told her it was worth for.
Yeah. Well, I don't even like selling stuff on eBay anymore. It's just a pain in the butt.
It is. Yeah.
It's not selling the stuff; it's shipping the stuff. I hate having to ship it. But that's the reason I'm going to make Dennis come get it all. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do with all mine when it's that time. But I won't be here.
I'm sure your boy will want most of it.
I doubt it. No, he's not really big into the trains. He likes the miniature stuff. He's kind of like her. He likes the miniature stuff.
Yeah.
If I had cooking utensils, then he'd be all in it. He's really gotten into cooking and stuff, and he's pretty good at it. But he's not as big on the modeling as I am. He doesn't have that creative aspect in that regard. His mother doesn't either. So that's one thing, she's in awe of me to be able to do that, or to be able to see things in my mind of how I want something to be and then make that. She likes that part of me because she can't do that. So I remember when we had it on the house one time, and all I had was subfloor and 2x4 walls up, no sheetrock or anything yet. And she's standing there looking, got this confused look on her face. And I said, just trust me, you'll like it. Next weekend, I had the sheetrock up, and she's walking through going, oh, this is going to be cool. But she had to see the sheetrock over the studs before, so they look like walls, because looking through it, it didn't look like anything. And so that's how bad she is with it. She just can't project out that like that. Okay, what else we got here? Oh, here Daniel's got a good statement. He owes his career to the problem-solving skills he learned by playing with Legos. Legos, Tinker Toys, Erector sets. Did you have a chemical set, Dennis?
No.
Oh, we caused some fires with that. That's one of those things, you can see on YouTube where they say toys they should have never come up with because they were so dangerous, and the chemical sets were one of them. Made by the same people that did the Erector set, I think. But yeah, those days were fun.
Yeah.
What else we got here?
Yeah. Nowadays, kids just build things on Sims, and what's that other one? I forget what. There's one where it's like 1980s looking bricks and blocks.
Yeah.
Both my daughters played that game, and I'm like, what are you getting at?
Oh yeah, my grandson played that. I think I know
what it's called.
Yeah, you're right, Bernard. It's a shame some of the kids don't pick up some of the working with their hands kind of stuff. Because that's, my dad always told me. He said
Minecraft. That's right.
Minecraft. Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad always told me. He said, learn a trade. Learn a skill of some sort, because, and he told me, he said, people are always going to want electricity, and they're always going to want indoor plumbing. So both of those you can make a good living at, which, when I was plumbing, it wasn't paying very much, but unless you own the company. Now, if you own the company, that was a different matter, but the plumbers themselves didn't make that much.
And you'd be surprised how many adults you might run into that have no, I won't say mechanical aptitude, I will say mechanical knowledge.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Because
I had several customers that I had to go do simple stuff for, because their husband, one of them was a doctor, and he worked all the time. And when he came home, he didn't want to do anything, but I don't think he knew how to do anything. And I'd go put cup hooks up, stuff that simple.
Put what up?
I'm sorry?
What did you put up?
Like stuff like cup hooks. Yeah. Easy stuff. Hang pictures. I don't know how many customers I hung pictures for. Now some of them were difficult to hang because they were heavy and in a awkward place, but just hanging pictures, because a lot of people don't want to do that. Painting is another one. People don't want to do it. It's not hard to do. It's just knowing what to do at the right time so you don't create a complete mess and you get a good job. But painting's not hard, but most people don't want to take the time to learn how to do that kind of stuff. And so unless you have an interest in it, like model railroading, you're not going to learn how to do any of this stuff probably, because it doesn't, except for the bench work and maybe some of the electronics, none of the rest of it translates to anything. You're not going to go plaster stuff unless you become a doctor and you got to plaster an arm, broken arm or something. What else are you going to use plaster on?
See,
plaster
like I'm not really interested in doing things like you do, Dennis, like build this mine thing, and it just doesn't Doesn't interest me.
But
what does interest you?
Running trains, I guess. I don't know really.
Then,
I mean,
then
that's
have
the
as
best of
much
the hobby.
fun as you can doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
No, I'm
the
not
great
saying
thing about model
anything, but
railroading is it
yeah,
encompasses so much stuff,
yeah, it
so
does.
much different stuff that you can find something in that you love.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, I could probably sit and build building kits all the time and be happy because I
really.
like doing that. I like putting stuff together with my hands. In fact, that was really creating a miniature world was more the driving force behind my layout than running trains.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's just
for
like
me.
you said earlier, Jerry, you were talking about woodland scenics and all of this and money and stuff like that. That's one of the reasons I love Drew Steele 69, Andrew, which I know
yeah,
you know him
yeah,
well, at least
yeah,
the channel, is because he has found a way. I
yeah,
mean, there's just there's no stress in his railroad, right?
yeah,
He is enjoying,
yeah,
you know, the hobby at a level that is so relaxing, and you know all of his little scratch builds, you know, they're just, I mean, he's just proving that you can really enjoy the hobby and
right.
not have a lot of money
Investment.
into
Yeah,
it. You know what I mean? And
true.
I think
Yeah,
that that's one of the reasons why I love his channel, is that I think that his channel is it's a great introduction to what you can do with the hobby, and not, you know, look at something that's
yeah,
so overwhelming. Oh, I
yeah.
could never do that. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
you actually
some
could.
of it is overwhelming, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris says that he likes to design the building more than running the equipment he builds. That, Chris, is exactly what happened at the end of the whole time I was flying RC airplanes. I loved the building of the airplane way more than I liked flying them. And I liked flying them,
You have to.
but it ended up at the end, it was all, but it ended up at the end, I was building planes for everybody else,
Yeah.
you know?
Like building stuff, yeah.
Because that's what I loved doing, was the building part. But that's, you know, and that's not everybody.
I like building things. To be truthful, I've just never built kits. I used to build models as a kid, but I've never built a kit. I don't,
Well, it's really not any different than building a plastic model.
yeah,
You're using different glue, obviously,
yeah, right,
and the pieces don't necessarily, you know, have a pin and socket that you fit them together with, like two halves of an
right,
airplane or two
yeah,
halves of a car or something like that. But it's not really much different. But if you have to like assembling something like that
right. Yeah,
before it's worth it to you.
I guess I would have to start out with something small before I start out
Oh,
with a
yeah.
100-piece kit or something, you know.
And there's lots of like craftsman kits, what you would call craftsman kits, that have small things that are fairly easy to put together. And you just put those together and work on your confidence of doing it and learn the skills
Yeah,
to put it together. But you still have to have the drive to do that.
sure, yeah,
And
no
if it
doubt.
doesn't satisfy you, you're not going to have the drive to continue with it. So, you know, it's kind of you know, this one thing feeds this
Yeah,
and that feeds
yeah,
this, you know, and not everybody's different. So it's, you know, some people can put track on a board, 4x8 board, and run them and just have a blast with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what they want to do. That's, you know, that's
Container Man says I should build an outhouse. I have indoor plumbing. I don't need an outhouse.
I actually
I
built.
mean, maybe he means a kit.
I don't
Yeah,
see the kit that's the double decker outhouse.
yeah.
I built that. I still haven't decided who's on top and who's on the bottom, but
I think OU is up on the top and OSU is down on the
no,
bottom.
no, 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 no,
No?
no, 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 no. probably opposite of that. But anyway, yeah.
It's a double-decker outhouse?
It's a double-decker outhouse. Somebody made it's a laser cut kit. Somebody made it, it's a conversation kind of thing, but you could really come up with a lot of cute things to do with that. Yeah. And it'd be a focal point, not a focal point, but it'd be a place on the layout, kind of like Bill's cabin with the girls in the bed next to it and that kind of stuff, The little things like that make a railroad a lot of fun, at least for me.
Yeah. I think we're supposed to congratulate Wilmer about being sponsored by Walthers.
Really? Whoa. He says you don't want to get me started. I must admit here.
I think you could get a lot of us started on some of those.
We might have to have. I might have to have Wilbur come on the show and explain what's going on.
Yeah, he loves those. Steve 87 says he could see me doing things Dennis does. I can't see me doing things Dennis does. And I'm not taking. I that's not a bad compliment. It's just like yeah.
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
There's people like Heath. I get the impression, I don't want to put words in his mouth or anything like that, but I get the impression that Heath could care less if he has a finished model on his railroad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's about the electronics and right now the operations. Now, I think you can evolve as a modeler or a railroader where
I think so too.
What you initially start doing, you like, and then once you experience something else in the hobby and you kind of get and you overcome, I don't want to use the word fear, but for lack of a better word, some apprehension involved in doing something, and you find out, it really wasn't as hard or difficult.
It wasn't as bad, right?
I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, like
it could roll over into another aspect of the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I started my end scale and I started ballasting, I kind of enjoyed the ballasting.
It's relaxing. It's just like building a turnout. It's relaxing
to me. It's like you just get it looking nice, and it's like it was nice, and people complain about it, and it was like I kind of enjoyed that part of it. So there were things that I did, in my end scale layout that I kind of like didn't want to do, but I did them. And they weren't as bad as
you had thought they were going to be.
Yeah,
I think if you're a process-oriented person, you do well with multiple aspects of a hobby. If you're I just want the end of the I just want the results. I just want to see the trains moving from point A to point B. If that's your end goal, then you're going to be a lot less likely to enjoy all of the things that it takes to have. I don't want to use the word high end. I'm not trying to make it sound like model railroad snobbery, but if you take you can't compare Drew Steele's 69. You can't compare his railroad with the Franklin and South Manchester. It's apples and oranges.
They both run trains. That's it.
Exactly, and there's plenty of room in that gambit of the different types of railroads to find enjoyment in the hobby.
Yeah, and Bernard's completely correct in that for some people it's the journey, and for some people they want that finished product.
It's the journey for me, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's what a hobby's supposed to be. It's supposed to be something that you like spending your extra time doing.
Yeah.
And once you find that, and it can be something, just a part of something that you like doing, part of an overall thing that you like doing, do that. Nothing wrong with that at all. I think there's too many people that are focused on the finished product.
Yeah, for sure.
But, well, that's our hour, guys. As usual, it went by really fast. Thanks, guys, in the chat. Hope you guys
Thanks everybody for coming.
Good week and rest of the weekend. And Jerry and Dennis.
Fellas, have a good week.
Later. Dennis, I tell you, I've got that wood if you want it.
Well, I probably do.
Yeah,
probably do.
Like 1/8 inch.
I need to talk to Steve.
1/8 inch square.
Steve said he was going to cut a bunch of wood, and get some to me, but maybe he
did. He did. It's like the signs he made me. He still hadn't shipped them to me.
Oh, you're talking about Steve.
Well, I told him, I said, all you got to do is wrap them up and weigh them and let me know what it weighs and the dimensions on it. And I'll print out the label and I'll email it to you and you can print it out and stick it on there and it won't cost you anything.
Yeah.
I still don't have them.
Speaking of Steve, real quick, Steve made a really cool sign for the Fork and Spoon Railroad. I don't know.
Yeah, he made one for mine. I didn't ask him to. He just made it. I asked him for a couple specific ones that he had done that I liked, and I asked him for those, and then he made another one or two. But he still hasn't wrapped them up and sent them. But anyway,
he'll get to it. All right, everybody.
He'll get there eventually. Yeah. Anyway, we're over time, guys. Everybody take care, and we'll see you next week.
See you.